What is up, people? Van from the Vanverse Gaming Channel here, bringing another video on Solasta Crown of the Magister. Today's video, I'm going to cover all of the background choices in Solasta Crown of the Magister as of today, which is pretty much the final state of Solasta now that they've released their last DLC. I'm going to cover what they give you, and then at the end of the video, I'm going to go into what I would choose and why, what are some of my favorite choices from a sheer min-maxer, really good build. And then the rest is just up to you on what you want your flavor to be for your character. So without further ado, let's kind of get into it. Now, you will notice that there are a total of 12 different options you can choose from. One of these options, the Wanderer, actually came from a DLC, the Primal Calling DLC, so you will need that to have access to this. And then these others that have this little circle on here, they came with the Lost Valley DLC. The only reason why these things are different is solely because they do not have a quest tied to them. All the other background choices that are in the game have an actual side quest tied to them if you would like to play through them. So that's the key of all of these on here, that all of these are based, 11 of them are base game that you can access today. The Wanderer is the only one you need a DLC for, and the 3 with the circle are ones where there is no quest line tied to them. So let's kind of get started. So picking the academic is pretty good. It gives you proficiency in Arcana, Nature, and Insight checks. It also gives you the ability to, or it gives you a notebook. It gives you 15 gold and some commoner's clothes. You'll notice you get to pick some of your personality traits and some additional personality flags. And then you also notice down here, it kind of tells you formal and violence of what your personality is. And so these are all things that don't really pay too much into the story. This isn't like Baldur's Gate 3. When it comes to actual interaction, you say snide comments and you make funny quippy things, but at the end of the day, whatever you choose is not going to impact the decisions that characters make towards you. So just keep that in mind. So next up, we have the Acolyte. The Acolyte is proficient in Religion, Nature, and Insights. They have proficient with Herbalism kits. You can choose one additional language, so you get 2 languages instead of 1. And then you also get Crafting Starter, 15 gold, and an Herbalism kit. So not only are they proficient in Herbalism kit, but you also get one as your equipment. Then the Aesthetic, so this is one we talked about. You get an additional language, proficient in Survival and Insights, proficient with Herbalism kit. And then you can see you get a couple of these items here. So another time where you're going to be proficient and get an Herbalism kit. Then you got the Aristocrat. So this one you're proficient in History, Persuasion, and Intimidation. This one you get 2 additional language instead of 1. And you notice that you also get 80 gold and a sigil ring. And then when you get to the Artist is going to be where you choose 1 additional language. You're proficient in Persuasion, Deception, and Performance. You get a canceled contract, 25 gold, a bronze statuette, and some clothes for nobles. Lawkeeper, proficient in Perception and Intimidation, proficient in Martial Weapons. Choose 1 additional language. You get a Lawkeeper's badge, 10 gold, and some clothes. The Lowlife, proficient in Stealth, Sleight of Hand, and Deception. Proficient with Thieves' Tools, Common Clothes, and you actually get some Thieves' Tools in your inventory. The Occultist, proficient with 1 additional, you choose 1 additional language. You're proficient with Arcana and Deception, proficient with Scroll Kits. You get a notebook, 25 gold, and a scroll kit. Philosopher, proficient with Medicine and Persuasion. You are proficient with an Herbalism kit. You get 2 additional languages. You get a Crafting Starter Pack, 25 gold, and Herbalism kit. The Sellsword, proficient in Athletics, Intimidation, proficient with Medium Armor. Choose 1 additional language. Military Campaign Ribbon, 10 gold, and some clothes. The Spy, proficient in Stealth and Deception, proficient with Nature and Poisoner kits. You get to choose 2 additional languages. You learn the special spy cipher, and then you gain some Thieves' Tools, some gold, basically some poison manual that you can learn how to craft poison, and you get a poison kit. And then last, the Wanderer that comes with the DLC, the Primal Calling DLC, proficient with Survival and Nature, proficient with Smith Tools and Herbalism kits, Explorer Pack, Torch, Common Clothes, and an Herbalism kit. So these are all the different backgrounds. Now, when you're picking your character, there's a couple backgrounds that are just going to stick out from it makes the most sense, not matching your background or playing a role, but just because it just improves your characters massively. So the first one I want to call out is the sellsword. The sellsword gives you proficiency with medium armor. So in 5th edition D&D, you don't have any penalties for wearing medium armor. So if you pick a wizard class and you want to have the wizard be able to wear medium armor, or you pick a rogue and you want the rogue to be able to wear medium armor, if you pick up the sellsword background, now you can wear medium armor with those characters. So this is a great background to put on your casters and your non-medium / heavy armor wearing characters to give them that extra, AC. The other cool thing is there's a feat that if you have proficiency in medium armor, it will then allow you to be able to wear heavy armor. So now you can, at level 4, take that squishy caster, give them the background to give them proficiency with medium armor, and then at level 4 take your first feat, and it's called, I forget what it's called, something about the Iron Legion, and then now you're proficient in heavy armor. So now your spellcaster can be a heavy armor wielding fireball spewing machine. So honestly, if you're not trying to pick your background to be thematic and to kind of fit a thing for your character, this is by far one of the best backgrounds to choose if you're not playing a character that can already wear medium or heavy armor. And on that same kind of note, the Lawkeeper is another one. So you're proficient with martial weapons. So again, this is another background where if you have a class that can't use some really good items, weapons, you could pick up this background and give anybody proficiency in non-simple weapons. So most of our martial classes will have proficiency in non-martial weapons, but this is a good thing to put on maybe that character that isn't normally a melee and turn them into a melee, right? So now you pick your sellsword, you get medium armor, you pick your feat at level 4 and get heavy armor, and then you can be, proficient in martial weapons, right? So what's great about this is if you have a character that can already wear medium armor or light armor, they can then take a feat to increase their armor instead of going sellsword, and then you can also become proficient in martial weapons and maybe make your, caster / melee fighter kind of character. So this is another really great background. A third one that I like to use is Lowlife. So Lowlife gives you proficiency in stealth, sleight of hand, and deception, and proficiency with thieves' tools. So basically, this gives one of your characters that has a pretty decent dexterity the ability to take on the role as your rogue and as your thief. And so say you don't want to run a rogue, but you're really big on trying to open up chests. Well, you could learn, you can learn a spell with, if you have a caster, where you can just open the lock using knock. Or you could take your ranger character or your druid character or any character that has a pretty decent dex and throw low life on them, give them proficiency in their thieves tools, and that will give them the ability to get their +2, +3, whatever proficiency bonus on what they roll. So you're still not going to be as great as a thief or a rogue, but at the same time, you still have the ability to maybe run a campaign without putting a rogue and still be able to open most locks in the game. So I like picking this up on like a ranger or somebody that I want to be a monk or somebody I want to pretend to be my rogue class in the game. Now, when you start talking about other things that are very important, the aristocrat, this is the only background that gives you 80 gold to start. That doesn't sound like a lot, but in comparison to every other background, having an additional 80 gold might allow you to swap out some stuff right away in the beginning of the game that's going to help your characters, right? You might be able to sell some stuff and pick up that two-handed sword right out of the gate, so you can start using that if that's what your character wants. So I wouldn't sleep on aristocrat just because it gives you gold and nothing else. There's definitely some advantage to being able to have more gold when you start the game. It's not a huge deal, but it's something to point out. And then the other one is the spy. So the spy gives you proficiency with poisoner kit and nature kit and 2 additional languages and spy cipher and 25 gold. And why I like the spy is a lot of people don't put poison on their weapons and their bows and their arrows. It is pretty amazing if you make poison and you throw it on one of your weapons, the extra damage you're getting is really worth it, right? So a lot of times when people play through this game, and I know I was guilty of it, I didn't use poison that much. But if you really want to max out your DPS, throw some poison on your weapons, throw some poison on your arrows, and really see how much additional damage. So you can put poison on a melee weapon. So just keep that in mind. So that's why I like Spy, is having the ability to be proficient in poisoner kits and be able to do that. So those are probably my top 5 that I usually choose. If I want to go thematic, then obviously the academic is going to be usually for your, your casters, your wizards, your sorcerers, that kind of thing. The acolyte plays really well into your paladins and your clerics. The aesthetic was designed to fit really nicely with the monk. The aristocrat, I mean, you could put anyone in here if you want them to be a pompous jerk. Maybe high elves would be great to be an aristocrat. Artist, this was supposed to follow up with the bard. Lawkeeper, so this could be your cleric, your paladin, your fighter, that kind of lawkeeper if you want to be thematic. Low life, obviously, this is probably going to be your rogue, or you could even go down the road of saying that your fighter is a low life, right? He's just a mercenary for hire, that kind of thing. The occultist, I mean, you can just look at the background and know what this one was for. This is definitely geared towards the warlock. Philosopher, I think you could go any kind of caster here. You could probably even go maybe a cleric, or a druid, or any of the wizard sorcerer thing. Sellsword, I think this is definitely geared towards more the ranger, fighter, rogue type build from a thematic standpoint. Spy, again, probably the same 3. Ranger, fighter, rogue would all fit the spy real well. And then the wanderer, this was designed to go towards your barbarian and your druid. And so lots of different thematic options as well. I will say, in some of these where you are able to speak multiple languages, right? 1 additional language, or you get, 2 additional languages, it has some benefit, but not a ton. There are some languages that it's nice to have covered. It just allows you to learn more of the story when you're playing through the game. But nothing is going to be like a deal breaker where it's going to prevent you from doing anything in the game by not having it. So really, when you're picking your background, I really think you should go for one of 2 things, right? You either want to do a min-max thing and pick different backgrounds that help to increase your party's ability, either in what armor they can wear, what weapons they can wear, if they can use poison, if they can pretend to be your rogue of your party, or if you want some extra gold to kind of make your starting run a little bit easier, or if you just want to be thematic and say, okay, well, I'm a paladin who is a law keeper, and I am pragmatic, and I am kind. That kind of thing. So lots to do here, but I wanted to take the time to put out this video to just really cover all the backgrounds because I've never done it in the past. And hopefully this will give you some idea of what backgrounds are good, and then what backgrounds probably fit the best classes from a thematic standpoint. So this is Van from the Vaniverse Gaming channel. Appreciate you all watching. Cheers and peace out.